what are some alternatives to Yell.com?
Biggest competitors to Yell.com is Checkatrade. Both platforms can be very good depending on the industry and the location of where you're based.
My next alternative to Yell.com is... Today we're going to be doing a video on alternatives to Yellow Pages tradesmen websites. Joined with James. What are some alternatives to Yell.com?
Yeah, so I'd say one of the biggest competitors to Yell.com is Checkatrade. So if you head on over to checkatrade.com, you can see there's quite a lot of business listings and tradespeople exactly like what they have on Yellow Pages. So I think both platforms can be very good depending on the industry and the location of where you're based. But when you get your listing put onto either one of these platforms, you do need to be tracking your ROI to see how many leads that's generating you, and is that bringing you back profit. If it's not, then you need to be looking for other competitors or other alternatives to both Yellow Pages and both Checkatrade.
Yeah, so my next alternative to Yell.com is Bark.com, and Bark.com, very similar setup to Yellow Pages. They've even got the directory now that Yellow Pages obviously have had for years and years and years. But with Bark.com, it's a credit-based system. So basically, you sign up, you get maybe for £100, you might get 100 credits. And for every single inquiry that matches your business criteria, you'll basically see like the parts of the lead. You won't see like the name, the telephone, and the contact details, but you'll see like the main information about the lead, and basically you can purchase that lead. Now, the bad thing, or the slightly bad thing about Bark.com, and we've also heard some really good things, but the slightly bad thing about Bark.com is that it is a shared platform. So for example, if myself and James are in a very similar industry and we look at a lead and we're like, oh, we like this lead, we purchase the lead, we get the exact same contact information, we are then fighting each other for that lead, so we would naturally drive each other down on price.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, you want to be trying to get exclusive leads. And if you are looking for alternatives to Yellow Pages premium listings and you don't see that there's much value within Yellow Pages, then I'd strongly recommend heading over to FatRank.com that does supply a real-time exclusive lead generation service. It's a commission-based lead generation service, which means you only pay out of your winnings. So no win, no fee strategy. And you do need to qualify, and if you do qualify, it is, in my opinion, the best lead generation strategy that you can do to help grow your UK company.
Yeah. So my next alternative to Yellow Pages is MyJobQuote.co.uk. So MyJobQuote.co.uk, for anybody that hasn't heard of them, they are basically a subscription-based platform, which can be a little bit risky, especially if, for example, they don't generate any leads in your local area. For example, you've already spent the subscription-based fee. So that's one thing that I would take into consideration with myjobquote.co.uk.
Yeah, and then a few others that are competitors to Yell.com premium listings, tradespeople websites are Trusted Trader, and Rated People. All them free platforms in certain industries can get you a positive return on investment, and that is important for you to track. If you're looking for more leads and looking to grow your company, then you should always be tracking those things. So as an alternative to Yellow Pages premium listings, you could try out Trusted Trader, and Rated People.
So a couple questions. Obviously, we've went through all the alternatives to Yellow Pages, or Yellow Premium Listing, some people call it as well. But a few things. Obviously, we've been talking heavily about tracking KPIs. What are some key metrics that you're tracking? Is it leads in? Is it customers? Is it paying clients? Is it clicks? What are you tracking, James?
So for me, the number one thing you should be tracking is return on investment. So all the other metrics don't matter. The main metric that does matter is return on investment. However, to get a return on investment, there's times that you need to be looking at the sales team and how many inquiries that they might be getting from Yell.com premium listings. there's a lot of people that come through to, let's say, FatRank.com, and they're always asking the question, is Yellow Pages worth it? Is Yellow Premium Listing worth it? And what they'll start to do is they'll start to compare with Bark and with Checkatrade, and that's very good for them to do, because business owners should always be frugal in making certain that they are getting an ROI. So you could be tracking your cost per lead, you could be tracking your cost per acquisition, but even the cost per acquisition, if you turn around and go, oh, I've got this order and it only cost me £100. If you're only making £120, you're only £20 in profit. Where I'd sooner get one that might be costing me £250, but making 10 grand. And at that point, I'm saying, yeah, this is a good return on investment. So that's the main thing that you should be looking at when you're looking at any of these tradespeople websites, whether it is Checkatrade or Bark or MyBuilder or Rated People or Trust a Trader. They all could be great platforms for your industry and in your location, but this is what you need to be doing. You need to be the one that sits down, works out your numbers, works out how many leads that you're getting, what your cost per lead is, cost per acquisition, the return on investment. For me, FatRank.com de-risks everything because it's a commission-based lead generation service. So that's a no-brainer, but don't have all your eggs in one basket. Try to have that diversification and try to find maybe one or two other tradespeople websites where they're generating your leads as well.
I think I know what your answer is to this next question, but if you had to pick three from the alternatives to Yellow Pages that we've just mentioned today, which three would you pick?
I would pick Checkatrade, Bark, and FatRank.com. I think them three, generally speaking, across the board, are the best three. And there's a lot of people that do a lot of verses, so they could do like Checkatrade versus Bark, Checkatrade versus Trust a Trader, Checkatrade versus FatRank, Checkatrade versus MyBuilder. And they're always looking at the different ones. Now, the bad answer I could have given you then could have been, it depends, because it does depend on where you're based and what your industry is. However, if you put my neck on the line, the best three, in my opinion, as alternatives to Yellow Pages premium listings is Checkatrade, Bark, and FatRank.
And one final question, obviously, we've just literally mentioned don't put your eggs all in one basket. You should be spreading out, testing out maybe two or three or maybe even 4 or 5 different alternatives to Yellow Pages. But at what point do you kind of rein it back and you're like, right, okay, I've tested out 6 different platforms. These 3 over here, they've not really given me an ROI. These 3 have. At what point are you like, is it after a month? Is it after a week? Is it after a year?
My kind of cut-off point, what I normally do, is 3 months. I think that gives the Tradespeople website enough time to have generated me enough leads for me to turn around and say, yes, I feel I'm going to get a positive return on investment on this. Obviously, at places like FatRank.com, you don't pay anything. So it's a no-brainer. So on that one, you just let it run, and until you get a profit, you don't pay anything out. So that's a no-brainer if you qualify. But for me, every successful business is where you're oversubscribed. You can then start turning away business that you're thinking, these want it too cheap, or these want it on an incorrect sub-base, or they want to cheap out on certain materials. You're able to say no. And sometimes businesses that are able to say no, it's so reassuring for that business owner because they know they're taking on the right jobs, winning the jobs at the right prices. And yeah, for me, you've got to be oversubscribed, and that's where then you might want to have that diversification on getting 2 or 3 alternatives or sites like Yell.com.
Yeah, so that has been our video to alternative websites to Yellow Pages or Yellow Premium listings. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. We've went into a lot of detail. If you guys do have any further questions, feel free to drop them down below or head over to fatrank.com, fill in the contact form, and our team will be in touch. Thanks for watching.